Hello, dear colleagues. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to participate with you in this international conference. So, as you can see on the first slide, the topic of my presentation is studying overseas, a life changing experience with immense effects. So, being aware that higher education institutions have been facing challenges on different fronts, American colleges and universities have been competing with each other to prove that they are more in tune with the new global reality and offer to their students programs that result in better job opportunities on the local, national, and international levels. There is an emerging trend within these institutions toward what has become known as outcome assessment. This type of assessment requires program designers, practitioners, and professors to assess that content they are teaching and whether the skills the students are learning relate to the competencies required in today's demanding global job markets. So, study abroad programs are believed to be a strategic element in higher education whose outcomes need to be explored, identified, and measured. In recent years, higher education institutions have been attempting to provide students with opportunities to improve their fluency in one or more foreign languages and to efficiently understand and interact with people of different origins, races, and religions. These abilities are a necessity in today's world to deepen students' knowledge and get well prepared for a global market. Over the last 2 decades, the students' mobility increased by 263% in the United States, moving from 129,000 participants in 1998 to 341,000 by 2018. This trend is believed to continue since educational stakeholders have been giving importance to this international experience as a significant aspect of enhancing students' global competencies during their sojourn in Morocco. Despite the constant growth of study abroad programs, they are organized by almost all American universities. Their effectiveness to boost students' intercultural learning needs concrete evidence. Previous studies indicate that students who take part in study abroad programs improve a set of intercultural skills such as adaptability, flexibility, and openness to cultural differences. Moreover, findings from large scale programs such as Study Abroad Articulation Project SAAP, Study Abroad and Exchange Programs SAEP, American Institute for Foreign Studies AIFS, and Institute for the International Education of Students IES indicate that this overseas experience had a significant effects on students' academic success, careers, and personal social development. The present study was inspired by my own experience as a Fulbrighter and as a host dad. In 2008, as an English teacher, I was one of the 8 teachers who were given the opportunity to live and study in the USA through participating in the Partnerships for Teaching P4T program in the University of Delaware. The P4T program sent Moroccan teachers of English as a second language to this university for 6 weeks of professional development. In addition, my family and I have been hosting American students who come to Meknes, Morocco, to take part in study abroad programs organized by their universities for more than a decade. As a host dad, I provide American students with a friendly and comfortable home, offer them meals, indulge them in all family activities, and encourage them to use the local language. However, both during my experience as a Fulbrighter and a host dad, I have noticed that not all participants in these programs got the same benefits from their sojourn in the host countries. The goal of this study is to assess the impacts of study abroad programs in Morocco on the US students in regard to their proficiency in Arabic, ICC, and employability according to Ferguson 1959. Arabic is a language that is known as a phenomenon called diglossia, which refers to the presence of higher and low registers of speech, while the higher register is known as Modern Standard Arabic (MSA). The lower register refers to Spoken Colloquial Arabic (SCA). The high register is generally used in writing and sometimes by well educated Moroccans in formal communications, whereas the lower register is used by friends and family members for day to day interactions. In this research, the focus is on students' use of SCA rather than MSA, as this is the language that is used by Moroccans in their routine conversations. For Palmer et al. 2007, more and more students in the US are interested in learning SCA. As a result, more SA or study abroad programs are designed by many higher educational institutions to provide them with the opportunity to study in Morocco. American universities have become aware that employers are recruiting linguistically and interculturally competent workforce. Educational institutions have thought of internalizing their curricula to meet the demand of the American labor market for global citizens. Um, some scholars have argued that students who participate in overseas programs benefit at a high level in regard to the development and employability skills. The same scholars added that experience is positively considered as being related to increasing job opportunities, which signals better educational credentials with proven skills that are demanded in the domestic labor market. In order to design study abroad programs that enable students to improve their language proficiency, develop their intercultural communicative competence, and increase their employability, stakeholders are expected to have a deep understanding of which components are effective and to which degree. The present study is a significant resource for students, researchers, trainers, and professionals who are interested in improving the quality of study abroad programs. So, as we have seen, the main objective of this dissertation is to investigate and measure the impacts of study abroad programs in Morocco on the American college students with respect to their target language proficiency, intercultural communicative competence, and job attainment. To reach this target, the study is geared toward meeting their three main purposes and therefore answering three main questions. Question number one: what are the effects of study abroad programs in Morocco on American students' language proficiency and intercultural communicative competence during and after their stay in Morocco? Second research question: to what extent students' personal characteristics and programmatic features have impacts on the American students' development of their cultural awareness and learning the target language during their stay in Morocco? The third research question: is there any interaction between the gender of the participants, the duration of the study abroad programs, and the participants' previous intercultural or international experience on students' educational choices and their employability after they return home? According to HAFA 2007, study abroad programs began in 1870s. At the time, Indiana University encouraged students, faculty, and administrations to enroll in summer courses given in Europe to learn a foreign language. In the beginning, the number of participants was small as only the most advantaged students participate in those courses. However, a president a precedent was set presenting a new approach to education abroad that allows students to combine academic classes with out of classroom cultural engagement. To maintain the educational continuum, faculty members joined and supervised both students and studies. In 1919, the Institute of International Education IIE was set up to support and assist international students pursuing their studies in the United States. This institution strongly believed that international exchange could turn the whole world into a more interconnected place. The IIE has focused on the international exchanges of ideas and individuals. It has also been managing a significant number of the world's most essential and prestigious scholarships. Every year, IIE works with more than 29,000 students, scholars, and academic professionals worldwide. In 1946, Senator William Fulbright launched the Fulbright Program to improve cultural diplomacy and intercultural relations between Americans and other people from other countries. Its mission was to bring a little more knowledge, a little more reason, and a little more compassion into world affairs, and thereby increase the chance that nations will learn at last to live in peace and friendship. This objective was reached through the exchange of individuals and knowledge and abilities. The Fulbright program provided scholarships to students, scientists, and artists from the US to help them to study, do research, or improve their skills in other countries. And citizens from other nations to do the same in the US. Fulbright is now considered as one of the most prominent and valued scholarships, and it operates in more than 150 countries worldwide, providing scholarships more than 4,000 to more than 4,000 international students. In 1948, the National Association of Foreign Students Advisors, NAFSA, was established thanks to colleges, universities, government agencies, and private organizations. The national or the rationale behind creating this association was the belief that international education was the foundation stone for building a more tolerant and non-violent world. Its objective was to spread policies and practices to help develop global citizens who possess the necessary knowledge and abilities required in today's interrelated world. Since the 1960s, bilateral and multilateral exchange agreements between America or American colleges and universities and other institutions worldwide have facilitated the study abroad programs. They were faculty directed and they lasted longer, a semester or one of 1 year. Nonetheless, these programs were not believed to be worthy and academic credit, and there were no methods to measure out of classroom learning. It was until the mid 80s that students or the study abroad programs started getting influenced by the experiential learning theory due to the development of different approaches to assess out of classroom knowledge. Qualitative data paved the way to factual findings statistically, but it was not the only way to get solid results. To get ideal qualitative data that can lead to a deeper understanding of the outcomes of and impacts of study abroad programs in Morocco, the researcher interviewed 10 alumni who expressed their readiness to participate in the study. These interviews were a unique method as the researcher decided to probe further and ask more questions to get more insights. An interview is a talk for collecting information. According to some scholars, it is a topic focalized conversation in which an individual directs another to provide answers to specific research questions. Research interviews involve both an interviewer and an interviewee. The former manages the exchange process and asks predetermined questions about a defined or a definite topic, and the latter responds to those questions. There is a variety of approaches to interviewing. Some scholars believe that there are three main types of interviews: structured, semi structured, and unstructured. Structured interviews help the interviewer to ask each respondent the same question that are or the same questions that are set in advance. They are like a questionnaire. The interviewer may also set possible choices of answers. Semi structured interviews are similar to structured ones, as the topic is discussed and the questions to be asked as planned before the meeting. However, unlike structured interviews, which use closed questions, semi structured interviews use open ended questions. Unstructured interviews, also known as in depth or quantitative interviews, as the name indicates, have very little or no structure at all. The interviewer has no predetermined questions. He or she approaches the meeting to discuss one or two topics and asks questions depending on the informant's answers. The conduct of interviews over the telephone has been increasingly used to collect qualitative data and in different fields. Robson 2002 provided three advantages of using telephone interviewing compared to mailed surveys. First, thanks to the expansion of ownership of mobile phones around the globe, it is now easy for researchers to contact respondents and get instant responses. In addition, through the telephone interviews, respondents' lack of understanding can be dealt with on the spot, and the questions can be explained inter or immediately. Finally, telephone interviews allow researchers to find the rapport with participants, keep the conversation on course, and help respondents stay engaged. Qualitative data analysis is the process of bringing order and meaning to the collected data, while quantitative analysis dealt with numerical size and statistical pattern. Qualitative analysis was concerned with open ended data from telephone interviews. The rationale behind qualitative analysis was to understand the statistical results gained by quantitative data. The questions posed to participants aimed to explore how they reflected on their experience in Morocco. To be more specific, respondents could provide answers using their own words. Microsoft Word NVivo 11 Plus and Microsoft Excel 2010 were used to process and analyze the qualitative data taken from the telephone interviews conducted with 10 participants. After expressing their willingness to participate in these interviews, these softwares were used to do the recording, storing, matching, and linking of data. They also allowed the researcher to focus on identifying categorical patterns in a down to earth way, as it facilitated the user friendly identification, organization, and classification of information. There are several approaches to conducting thematic analysis, but the researcher decided it was more convenient to use the most common form that is developed by Brown and Clark, the 2006. Taking into account the research questions, the method of analyzing the data, and the approach that is going to be taken, the researcher followed six steps to determine relevant themes. Step one: organizing and getting familiar with the collected data. Step 2, working with codes. Step 3, generating themes. And step 4, reviewing these themes. Step 5, defining and naming themes. And then step 6, writing up thematic analysis. Interviewees were asked 5 questions to provide qualitative data to this research. The interviews were semi structured as the researcher had a particular topic for the participants who had already expressed their consent to provide their answers to the interview questions. These questions were open ended and sometimes they were asked in different orders to each interviewee. The major goal of these in-depth interviews was to know what respondents think about the topic at hand in their own words. It is worth briefly revisiting the 5 questions that the interview guide contained. First, the interviewees were asked if their participation in study abroad programs in Morocco helped them to improve their SCA. Second, participants were asked to describe the qualities and abilities that helped them to get accepted in the Moroccan culture. Third, the alumni were asked to describe the effects and that the program components homestay had on their experience in Morocco. The fourth question was about the effects of their stay in Morocco on their life and work choice after returning to their country. In the last question, the researcher asked the participants to describe their experience in Morocco. Taking into account the objective of this research, as well as the research questions and the hypothesis, the following and following the steps mentioned in chapter 2, to analyze the transcripts and to get the most out of these interviews, the researcher followed the 6 steps developed by Brown and Clark and explained in section 2.10.2: familiarizing, coding, generating themes, reviewing themes, defining and naming themes, and then writing up thematic analysis. The researcher identified a set of themes that are coherent and distinctive. 5 themes were named and described. 1. Study abroad programs in Morocco helped in acquiring a great deal of spoken colloquial Arabic. Being able to speak spoken colloquial Arabic help students get accepted in the local community. 3. Homestay is a great experience. 4. Study abroad programs enable students to get their dream jobs. And finally, 5. Study abroad programs in Morocco are life changing experiences. Alumni answers to the 5 questions are provided next. To ensure the validity of the research of the present research and to give good references to the readers, excerpts from the interviews are given along with the themes. When interviewees give long answers, only relative segments are reported. This section discusses the findings from the thematic analysis of the interview transcripts. Overall, 5 themes were identified and are restated below. The framework that underlies the qualitative part of the study is one of second language socialization. As mentioned earlier, second language socialization is defined as the process by which novices or newcomers in a community gain communicative competence. This process is facilitated by the use of L2 in interactions within the host community. Previous studies have indicated that language socialization experiences and L2 proficiency are interconnected. Some scholars claim that the second language socialization is a suitable theoretical framework to decipher the learning process during the international experience, as understanding the acquisition of the second language needs data from different languages. These scholars advised researchers to study every nuance of related information since language learning in study abroad programs is complex process. For this researcher, students' self-positioning can affect their access to social networks and influence their linguistic and cultural gains in country. Similarly, Kinjin Jer urged researchers to use the second language socialization framework to better comprehend the individual variability in participants' experiences during study abroad programs, in addition to the benefits of these programs in terms of students' language learning. So, Team 1 study abroad programs helped alumni improve their linguistic skills. In light of the findings, the most pertinent competency that appeared in the quantitative data as a center of socialization in the linguistic competency, participants indicated that they made significant improvements in linguistic skills during their intercultural experience within Morocco. Some scholars stated that the most important element of language socialization is the mastery of the target language. The socialization of participants into their new environment during their experience in Morocco enabled them to acquire and improve a great deal of their language too, through countless contacts and exchanges with members of the local community. Similar to L1 socialization, L2 socialization is facilitated by individuals who are more proficient and more familiar with the target language. For those that are less knowledgeable, more experienced people usually include faculty members, tutors, peers, and local people who are willing to give a helping hand to novices in order to learn the target language and acquire the values and and practices that are connected with the language and its users within the communities of practice. According to the common conviction in the field of international education, the most successful way to learn a language is the country where this language is spoken. During their sojourn abroad, students are exposed to a large amount of the target language, and they are also all able to put into practice the knowledge they have learned in the classroom. As a result, students improve their oral skills thanks to their interaction with local people. A series of studies have compared the linguistic skills students acquired in the classroom and during their participation in study abroad programs. The results indicated that the gains in fluency and accuracy were higher for study abroad participants. The type of relationship students may have with local people, their personal characteristics, and the amount of exposure and immersion in the host culture may determine the level of L2 proficiency they may reach. According to Croatian 1988, low anxiety context that language socialization offers increase learners' self-confidence and provide them with positive attitudes toward the target language and culture. In fact, the students' attitudes toward the target language and the host community affect their language contact and the linguistic gains from this contact. Theme 2 that was extracted from the responses or the interviews is qualities that made participants feel they were accepted as members of local community. Another primary theme that was attached to various segments of the participants' responses is the skills that helped respondents to get accepted in the local community. Students' ability to speak Arabic and the way they dressed up were the most frequent in students' responses. Being able to speak Arabic and dressing up in a way that is similar to local people, particularly for women, may initially open many doors for students to increase their everyday language uh, practices. So the findings of the present study are consistent with previous research on the importance of second language proficiency as a skill that enables students to get accepted in the host community. According to Ashrat and Davidov, 2014, proficiency in the target language is believed to be a form of human capital. Speaking a language of a community enhances students' prospects for social success. The second element that plays an important role in enabling students, especially females, to get accepted in the Moroccan society is how they display themselves, what they wear. It is true that in Morocco, people dress in different ways. There are females who wear shorts or skirts, and there are women who have everything but their eyes covered. Respecting the Moroccan culture and going for more conservative clothes is highly appreciated by local people. Some scholars stated that all language learning is culture learning. Sharing the same point of view, other scholars made up the term lingua culture to point out that language and culture are so significantly interconnected that they should always be studied together. For some researchers, learning a second language and acquiring sociocultural aspects happen simultaneously and form the basic principle of second language socialization. Garrett and Baquidano Lopez noted that language and culture are so strongly interwoven. So while learning the language, participants in study abroad programs learn about the dress code in Morocco. The third theme is homestay was a great experience. One of the most important characteristics of study abroad programs that may affect participant development in terms of linguistic and cultural gains is housing. During their sojourn in Morocco, students may encounter three types of accommodation. One, dormitory, a residence that often consists of corridors with identical rooms where a number of students live with each other. Shared apartments, a number of students live in a furnished apartment with many bedrooms. Homestay, the student may have his or her own room while living with the host family. There is a scant literature on the impact of housing type on the students' linguistic and cultural gains during the study abroad program's experience. Wilkinson 1998 indicated that students' cultural sensitivity may have an impact on the quality of their interactions with their host families. She raised the question of the importance of staying with a host family during the study abroad programs. She compared students who benefited from the homestay to those who stayed in dorms. She concluded that, contrary to popular belief, the host family situation does not always constitute the most beneficial living arrangement for all study abroad participants. She noted that participants who stayed with host families scored lower in listening and speaking proficiency. Conversely, several studies have examined the power of the homestay experience and its impact on students' L2 proficiency and ICC. A great number of these studies have proved the efficacy of the homestay experience and its vital role in socializing students through and into the target language as they participate in everyday interactions with individuals from the target language community. Other researchers highlighted that the importance of the homestay experience and advised study abroad programs administrators to include this experience as planned part of the curricula. DeSalvio, Donovan, and Malone 2014 points out that there is correlation between participants in the homestay experience and their L2 learning process. The other theme, which is theme four, is study abroad in Morocco means better job prospects. So this theme, which was identified in interviewees' responses to question 4, focuses on the role of study abroad programs in enabling participants to find a job when they graduate. It seems that students are aware that the degree they get at the end of their university study or studies is not sufficient. They need to develop a set of employability skills such as teamwork, problem solving, and communication. Some scholars stated that employers do not consider graduates' academic results only, but they also give more importance to generic and practical skills to recruit relevant candidates. By the same token, other scholars indicated that 51% of employers had problems finding qualified candidates. They stated that the main issues are graduates having lacking adequate skills, relevant qualifications, and work experience. There is a fifth theme here, um, which is um, which is about another concept which revolves around study abroad programs, students' reflections on their study abroad programs experience within Morocco. So how do students see their and evaluate and reflect on their study abroad experience in Morocco? The main goal of study abroad programs is to give an opportunity to participants to immerse into a totally new and unfamiliar culture. Respondents' answers to question 5 indicate that all students highly appreciate their experience in Morocco. Participants describe their sojourn in Morocco as fruitful, fantastic, and life changing. This mobility experience has been made some participants new people, or has ever made some participants new people. It motivated them to learn more languages and discover other cultures. Interviewees' responses to the fifth question of the interview about their overall experience in Morocco were overwhelmingly meaningful and positive. American students have become aware of the importance of spending a few months outside their country. A consensus, a consensus has been emerging among stakeholders, which means education, government, and private sectors, that students should benefit from study abroad programs. Through the international experience, students turn into knowledgeable graduates able to live and work in a progressively more interdependent world of global cooperation. Participants in study abroad programs report many significant growth in different areas: second language acquisition, sociocultural awareness, and intercultural competence. During their international experience in Morocco, participants were able to create connections between their country and the host country. Since sojourning in Morocco was a beneficial experience, participants considered their trip to Morocco as a catalyst for other educational trips to other countries. This experience allowed them to become more worldly and cultured. This study contributed to the much needed qualitative research on study abroad sojourns in Morocco. In total agreement with its quantitative counterpart, the qualitative part has touched upon the impacts of the experience of studying in Morocco has on students. It has helped the researcher to get a fuller picture of the study abroad experiences. The identified themes in the qualitative part have been discussed and interpreted, drawing on the second language socialization theory pioneered by Duff and Talmy 2011. Qualitative results have not only confirmed the quantitative findings but have also created a vigorous foundation for making comparisons and drawing conclusions. Hence, the profound impacts that participants have described strongly support the benefits of study abroad opportunities, particularly in relation to the second language proficiency, ICC, and employability. Qualitative results have also indicated that language socialization enables students to improve their linguistic skills and boost their intercultural gains. Language 2 socialization allows participants to take part in interactional routines and speech acts within the new discourse community. These social interactions and routine activities are crucial aspects of nurturing communicative competence and other cultural knowledge. such as values, practices, identities, ideologies, and effective states associated with the new community of practice. However, students participating in study abroad programs are expected to be active members in the construction of socialization. They should be active contributors to the meanings and outcomes of different interactions with the other members of the local community.